Hello, I am Laki Molla. I teach at the Department of English, Voirab Ganguly College. Welcome back to the series of lectures on English poems. Today I am going to discuss Dilip Chitre's Felling of the Banyan Tree. The video is going to be helpful for the students who have taken English as their AEC subject in semester 1 under the colleges of West Bengal State University. However, the video is going to be helpful for the general students of English literature also. Felling of the Banyan Tree is written by Dilip Chitre, a Marathi poet born in 1938 in Baroda. He is a bilingual poet writing both in English and Marathi. Felling of the Banyan Tree is taken from his collection of poems Travelling in a Cage, published in 1980. The poem centers around the theme of cultural uprootedness or being alienated from one's soil. The secondary theme that runs throughout the poem is the theme of environmental degradation in the name of progress or in the name of urbanization. The poem is divided in 3 stanzas of unequal length and consists of 25 lines, and there is no set rhyme scheme in the poem. In the first stanza, the poet describes his house in Baroda and its surrounding atmosphere, and how his father has taken the decision to come from Baroda to a new place, to Bombay, and for that he ordered all the tenants that lived in the house that surrounded the poet's house to vacate, and he also took the decision to remove all the trees that surrounded their house. The neem, the shega, the odumba, all these become very easy, but one problem that they face is to remove the big banyan tree. In the second stanza, we are told how that big banyan tree, that mighty banyan tree, is removed, and in the third stanza, from line number 17 to 25, the poet describes the effect of that felling of the banyan tree on the poet. Now let us go through the poem. My father told the tenants to leave, who lived on the houses surrounding our house on the hill. The poet lived on the hill, and the house of the poet is surrounded by many houses where the tenants were living, and the father of the poet gave order to the tenants to vacate the houses, to leave the houses. Tenants refers to the people who pay rent to live in someone's houses. One by one the structures were demolished, only our own house remained and the trees. So as the poet's father gave the order to the tenants to leave the house, so one by one they vacate the houses, they leave the houses, and after that the structures, that is the houses in which the tenants live, were demolished. Demolished means destroyed totally. So only our own house, so only the house in which the poet lived, it remained, and the trees. Trees are sacred, my grandmother used to say. Felling them is a crime, but he massacred them all. So trees are sacred, my grandmother used to say. Sacred refers to that holy. So according to Hindu mythology, the trees are sacred, they are holy. So the grandmother here represents the religious side, the traditional aspect, whereas his father refers to the modern side of civilization and representing urbanization, representing the cutting of this tree for the sake of development. Felling them is a crime, so chopping them or cutting these trees is a crime according to the Hindu mythology, are considered very sacred, very holy, and they are worshipped by people, like one of them is the banyan tree, which is worshipped by people, and we find that it is the banyan tree under which Lord Buddha is renounced in Bodh Gaya. And there is also the reference of this banyan tree in Bhagavad Gita, where Sri Krishna says that of all the trees I am the banyan tree. So the banyan tree in Hindu mythology is considered as very holy. From an environmental point of view, cutting a tree is also a punishment because it is a huge blow to the ecosystem. Felling them is a crime, but he massacred them all. Here he refers to poet's father. He massacred refers to killed violently. So he killed violently all the trees. The Sheuga, the Odumba, the Neem are all cut down, but the huge banyan tree stood like a problem. So the workers easily cut down the Sheuga, the Odumba, the Neem, but they were facing a problem while cutting the huge banyan tree, the big banyan tree, whose roots lay deeper than our leaves. So the roots of this banyan tree, it lay deeper all our leaves, because it has gone deeper in the ground, and my father ordered it to be removed. So this particular banyan tree, which is referred to in the poem, is a tree which is a very old one, and that's why it has witnessed many things. It has witnessed generations after generations. So this tree is a mighty one, and the workers are facing a lot of problem to cut this tree down. But in spite of all these things, my father ordered the workers to remove the tree anyhow. The banyan tree was 3 times as tall as our house. Its trunk had a circumference of 50 feet. So this gives a physical description of the tree. It is a huge one, and its circumference, that is the boundary of something which has a circular shape. It has a 50 feet circumference. Its scraggy aerial roots fell to the ground from 30 feet or more, so first they cut the branches. So it's scraggy refers to uneven, that lacking any kind of order. So it's scattered aerial roots refers to the roots which grow above the ground. So this banyan tree, it is different from other trees in the sense that it has its roots not only under the ground, it has also aerial roots, it has also roots above the ground. From the branches, the roots basically go to the ground, and that's why it's become very difficult for the workers to remove the trees, to cut the tree down. From 30 feet or more, so first they cut the branches. Here they refers to the workers. Sawing them off for 7 days, and the heap was huge. Insects and birds began to leave the tree. So sawing refers to to use a hand tool with a sharp blade to cut through the wood. So sawing them off for 7 days. So the workers took 7 days to cut all its branches, and all these branches made a huge heap. Insects and birds began to leave the tree. So insects and birds are compelled to leave the tree, and this is a metaphor of uprootedness, where one is compelled to leave a place. So one suffers from a kind of anxiety for an unknown future. Okay. So the poet's condition, when his father took the decision to move from Baroda to Bombay, he also suffering from that kind of anxiety for an uncertain future. Okay. Here we also reminded of the refugees who are compelled to leave their country and to settle in a different country. So they are also suffering from a kind of anxiety. Okay. So when one is ordered, one is compelled to leave a place in which he was born and brought up, he is not only told to leave the place. Okay. He is also told to leave the near and dear ones who are living with him in that place. He was also told to leave the essential life force. Okay. So these insects and birds began to leave the tree is a line which has different multiple layers of meanings. And then they came to its massive trunk, and after cutting down the branches, the workers lastly came to cut its massive, its huge, its heavy trunk. 50 men with axes chopped and chopped. The word chopped is repeated here, and it refers to how big the tree is and also the efforts of the workers. The great tree reveals its rings of 200 years. So in the rings that were in the trunks of the tree, it shows that the tree is 200 years old. No, it witnessed many events, it witnessed many generations. We watched in terror and fascination this slaughter. So the poet's two feelings here, one is terror, another is fascination. They were looking at it very interestingly, because this is the first time that they are looking this kind of event, and he referred to these cutting or this chopping of this tree's trunk as a slaughter, as a savage killing. Okay. As a raw mythology revealed to us its age, soon afterwards we left Baroda for Bombay. So as a raw mythology, so raw mythology here metaphorically refers to the rings of the trees on the trunk, which refers to its age, okay, and it refers to the tradition in which one was, and when one is left from one place to another, he also leaves behind the culture, he also leaves behind the tradition in which he was. Soon afterwards we left Baroda for Bombay, where there are no trees. So the essential difference between Baroda and Bombay is that in Baroda there was many trees, but in Bombay there was no trees, a completely urban city. Okay. So a transformation from a rural one to an urban one, from one culture to another culture. Where there were no trees except the one which grows and seeds in one's dreams, its aerial roots looking for the ground to strike. So there is no trees, but I have a tree within my mind, and that grows, and that seeds that's moving, moves around quickly, or rather a kind of anger is there because of the way the move has happened, and it is in my dream. So in the subconscious of the poet, the tree, that big banyan tree, that culture that they live is very much living, and its aerial roots is looking for the ground to strike. So through this poem, Chitre urges us to reflect on, to reconsider our actions, and he emphasizes on the importance of tradition, the impact of urbanization on society, and the need to safeguard the cultural roots for future generations. If you have any questions, any queries, any agreements, disagreements, feel free to express that in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching the video.